So I have an idea, I guess you can call it a theory, about how WandaVision might end and how the season finale may impact the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. Now, what I'm about to talk about in this video is going to be going through spoilers for the first 6 episodes of WandaVision, so if you are not caught up on this show, you might want to get caught up as quickly as possible because this show is going to have major ramifications on the MCU. Whether or not what I say is true happens, it doesn't matter because the show is going to have some kind of big finale. We've already heard they have something big planned, and that whatever happens will bleed into the future movies and future TV shows, Disney Plus shows of the MCU. So you've been given enough time to click off now. So on Twitter I made this joke and I said, wouldn't it be awesome? It wasn't really a joke, it was a theory joke, it wasn't really serious, I was just kidding around. Wouldn't it be awesome if Professor Xavier showed up in the last episode and shut off Wanda's mind, with his powers of telepathy, and was able to shut her mind off, not kill her, but just shut her mind off like he's been able to do in the comics before. That would be awesome, but I feel like there is more. I think there's something else that's going to happen here, and I think in order to figure out what's going to happen with Wanda, I think we're going to have to look at what happened in the House of M storyline. In the House of M storyline, which, by the way, Comics Explained did a wonderful video on it, Wanda Maximoff, a.k.a. Scarlet Witch, you have to understand she's a high level mutant. She's very powerful. And in that comic storyline, she was able to literally disable mutations, turn off mutant powers for every mutant. And that's an incredible feat. I think House of M Wanda, I think that feat is the biggest thing we've seen her do. In my opinion. I could be wrong. There's so many comics out there. I haven't read them all. And I feel like I'm not saying she's going to do that in the MCU because right now we have not seen mutants in the MCU yet. But think about this. Consider for your consideration. So in the last episode of WandaVision, there was a discussion about when you go inside the Hex. A couple of major events happened. First of all, before I get to that, the Hex got bigger. That was like the big sort of twist at the end of the episode, cliffhanger, is that Wanda has the ability to make the Hex get bigger, and thus she can swallow people into the Hex and turn them into really whatever she wants and have a degree of mind control. She can't mind control them entirely, but she can control them within the Hex. So, earlier in the episode, before that even happened, there was this talk about how your molecular structure can change within the Hex. Now, maybe I misunderstood this, but if Wanda has the ability to change your molecular structure, what if the Hex gets even bigger? Remember, they're in Jersey. Let's say it takes up the entire Northeast, or at least just North America. Let's say she actually gets that mad that the Hex takes up North America, for example. What if Wanda, instead of turning off mutant powers like she did in House of M, what if she turns them on? What if she uses her abilities to change the molecular structure of the surrounding humans, some of them, not all of them, and they begin to develop mutant powers little by little? Or their children begin to develop mutant powers. And that's how Feige would cleverly put the mutants into the MCU. Obviously, the idea of the multiverse and having, the Fox X-Men universe be a different universe within the MCU parameters, and eventually not only bringing in, you already have Evan Peters, but bringing in Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, whomever, right? James Marsden if they wanted to. Having the Fox X-Men already exist in a different universe is an easy way to kind of bring them in and have Avengers versus X-Men or some kind of big event, a big sort of baity storyline. And what if they did this, right, just to kind of get the MCU Phase 4 rolling, give us some, maybe give the X-Men actors one last hurrah, you know what I mean, give them one last movie to kind of get spotlight, but to kind of reboot mutants in the MCU, from scratch, have a different Xavier, different Wolverine after you retire Hugh Jackman, if you even want to do that, because he is the best Wolverine. I mean, he's the only Wolverine, but he's really good. We all love him as Wolverine, but they could easily do something like this, and then you're going to be able to develop New Mutants. We've heard that Shang-Chi is going to have characters like Spiral and Omega Red. That's been the big rumor. We're going to have mutants like that. But of course, in the MCU, prior to mutants, they used to call them like enhanced something. I believe they were like enhanced humans, but that was, of course, before the purchase of the Fox stuff, and that you can call anybody an enhanced human. You can call Captain America an enhanced human, right? You can call Hulk an enhanced human. Like, you don't have to be a mutant. Remember, in the Marvel comics, a mutant is only defined by somebody who has the X gene, the mutant X gene. Spider-Man got bit by a radioactive spider. He's not a mutant. He just happened to get the mutation through getting bit by a radioactive spider, but not the X gene. So Wanda might be the one to trigger the X gene and cause mutation to begin in the MCU. And then we could see all kinds of different characters. They might be able to retcon the Fantastic Four into being mutants if they want to go in that direction. They don't have to do that. I mean, that's just one thing they could do. They can do all kinds of things with this. Sort of take inspiration from House of M, show respect to House of M, and have Wanda, who's not in control of her powers anymore. Because look, if she has the powers of the Soul Stone, this should be no problem. And molecularly change humans surrounding the Hex into mutants. Little by little. They don't have to automatically get their powers. It could be a thing where, like in the Marvel Comics, the mutants develop their powers through, puberty and whatnot. Like, I'm not saying that, Kat Dennings is going to end up getting powers, even though if you look at her, she has powers already, and we'll leave it at that. But, you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, I think it's something that could be done. I think it's something that they could do to quickly put mutants in while still doing the crossover with the Fox X-Men to kind of give those actors one last hurrah. Because I want to see that. I want to see X-Men versus Avengers with those actors. Because even though a lot of those X-Men movies are trash, 3 or 4 of them are pretty damn good. All right, X-Men 1, X-Men 2, Days of Futures Past. I love those films so much, especially the last 2. Not really a big fan of Dark Phoenix. Apocalypse was kind of mid. First Class was okay. I mean, I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. But 1, 2, and 5 are really great films. And they hit me emotionally, especially 2 and 5. But, 3 was like, nah, not really a big... I didn't hate it, but it was like, nah, to me. But X-Men coming in would be fantastic because I love the X-Men. That's my favorite Marvel team. My favorite Marvel stories are X-Men. And I've been reading a lot of X-Men lately. Maybe I'll do some... If you want to see me do some reviews on X-Men stuff, I would love to do them. Just let me know, y'all, and we'll do it. So anyways, with that being said, I will leave this video here and ask you, do you like my idea? Do you think it sucks? If it does suck, that's okay. Tell me why and what you would do. What is the big finale of WandaVision? Let me know. We'll talk soon. Take care of yourself.